We are back here at Free Cycles working on this awesome Candle F700 gravel rig. Last episode, we got the handlebars on, the wheels on, seat and seat post, and the pedals. And today, we're going to be focusing on the shifting and braking. We got a lot of work today, so let's get into it. My first thought on this build is we should start to work on the brakes, but I do have one surprise before we get started. When I came into the shop today, I found a set of 27.5 wheels. These will give us about an extra 1.5 inches of diameter in wheelbase, and it allows me to try out these Maxxis Receptor tires. These really pretty gum walls. Excited to put these on, see how they look. And if it's really giving you trouble, what you can do is grab this little tire lever, grab on the side of the rim, and then just round it in, just like that. So we got that first wheel all set up, but before we do the second one, I want to make sure that the fitment's correct. There's more than enough room in the dropouts. So I'm going to put the second wheel on, see how it looks. So we got the wheels on, and I'm really liking the look. So, without further ado, let's start with the braking. For this build, I have the original Coda cantilever brakes. They're a super interesting style of cantilever brake that I've never really worked with, so it's going to be a fun challenge. You have these two posts right here for your cantilever brakes, one on each side, and you're going to want to make sure that the arm is pointing out. Most cantilevers are going to use a 5mm Allen wrench to tighten into place. You're just going to put it right in the brake post hole, just screw it in with a hand, and then tighten. And what that's doing is tightening a small spring so that when you let off the brakes, the brake arms will go back into place. There we go. Off the other side, and then we're just going to set up the fronts as well. Now we got the brake arms on the post, we're going to be setting up the yoke, which looks just like this. Has this little metal piece and then this little wire, which when loosened can slide back and forth. Not all brakes will have a yoke that mounts to this top hole, but this one does. For the yoke, you're going to want to slip this arm into the cable and then tighten down this bolt. Now let's work on the drop bar brakes and shifters. First thing you're going to want to do is loosen this hose clamp that allows it to slide on the drop bars. So for this one, the new more modern style will have a hood that you can pull back, and there's usually just going to be a bolt on one of the sides you can loosen. I'm going to loosen this. On the older style, you're going to pull your brake forward, and there's going to be a bolt right in the back that once you loosen, you want to do the hose clamp. Now that this is loose, you can start by sliding it on. So we're going to, for this one, lift back the hood a bit. Once we have it in the place I want, we can tighten it. Now we can start to wire up the brakes. For this one, it already had the brake wire on, but if it's not on for yours, what you're going to want to do is open up this side and then slide it through this little hole right here. That's going to slide through and then out. Now let's get everything wired up. I'm going to start by putting on some housing. So there's a few ways to kind of determine how much housing you need, and the first part is to determine where you're going to need it. So I have this extra bit of housing that I found that looks like it's about the right size. So I'm going to slide this on through. Now the big thing with this is just making sure you have enough housing that it's not preventing the movement of your bars when you turn. the this last piece of housing, it's small enough I couldn't find one that would generally fit the extra section, so I'm just going to cut a current piece of housing just to fit the perfect length. And the area it needs to go is this really small section between this hole and this hole. When I bumped up sizes from a 26 to a 27.5 or 650B, I increased the rim size, so I'm going to have to raise these posts a little bit so they'll actually match up with the rim. Just do that by taking a 10mm wrench, going to the back, loosening them, moving them up, just tighten it once it's lined up. But before we finish setting up the brakes, I'm going to take off this wheel and put on the cassette so we don't have to take it off when these are all tightened up. Okay, let's put on a cassette. So right here, we have your hub, and then we have mine's in pieces, but your cassette. So to put on your cassette, you're going to want to look at the hub, and you'll notice that there is a bunch of bars. One happens to be a bit skinnier than the others. Now, if you look at your cassette, you'll notice one of these is skinnier than the others. So you're just going to want to put it on. Now you're going to want to continue that process with the rest of your gears, but make sure after each gear to put a spacer to allow the chain to fit comfortably on each gear. Now that you have that done, you're going to want to take your final gear, which will kind of be splined like this, and your lock ring, something like this. You want to fit your last gear on top, like that, and then take your lock ring, put it right on top, and then kind of push, twist. I like to tighten it by hand first, like that, and then you're going to take this tool and tighten like that. Now that we got the cassette on, let's finish up these brakes. For the yoke, you're going to want to slip this arm into the cable and then tighten down this bolt. I'm going to start by pushing this cable through the hoods like this till it locks into place. Now that we have the cable going through the housing, I'm going to put a ferrule on. This will make sure that no debris or moisture can get in. Just like that, and then I'm just going to lock it into place over here. Now we can get the second piece of housing on, so I'm going to do the exact same process. Slip the end through, push it through, comes out the other side. Put one piece in place, and then do the same with the other. Now that we have that through the yoke, you can pull it taut and slip it under brake post like that. And then take our 5mm, make sure it's where we want it. Again, pulling taut, and then tighten. Okay. And that is the first brake done. So now I'm going to do basically the exact same process, but for the front, and then we can move on to shifting. Now that we have both brakes working, we're going to get started on the shifting. First step is going to be putting on your derailleur. You're going to take your derailleur, take a little bit of grease, apply it to the bolt like that. Then once that's on, you're going to be putting it on your derailleur hanger, positioning it, Now that we have our derailleur on, let's put on our chain. We're gonna get our chain started on the chain ring, like so, and slide it back to the cassette. Once we're aiming toward the cassette, we're gonna put it on the highest gear, so the smallest cog, and pull it down. Next, you're gonna see these two little cogs, which are called the pulleys on the derailleur. For the first pulley, you're going to slide underneath it and push around. Once it's through that first one, you're going to then guide it to the top of the second pulley. So next step is we're going to be putting in our shifting cable, opening up the hood, sliding that through like that, and once it's open, pull, then it should just lock itself in place. Now that we have that cable on, we can put on some housing, sliding it through. And pull, just like that, and lock it into place. We can slip on our other ferrule, slide it through the next piece. Now, we're going to be grabbing the cable, we're going to be sliding it through the small hole that's going to be on the bottom of the frame. Now that's through, we can put on our next piece of housing. The housing is going to go through here on the chainstay, and go through the barrel adjuster. Now I'm going to be loosening this pinch bolt to the rear of the derailleur, taking my cable, sliding it in like so, and then tightening. Got the shifting all hooked up. As you can see, our shifter's in the lowest gear, but it's kind of skipping around a bit. So I'm going to tighten up the limit screws, which are located right here. These change how far in and out the chain will go. And so it not hitting this one, I'm going to loosen the low limit. Just like if it wasn't hitting this one, I would loosen the high limit. We have the shifting and braking done. It's looking really cool. I'm excited to try it out. And stay tuned to next video when we're going to get some accessories on as well as wrapping our bars.